going on, my friends? I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table, and we got a little bit of a light glow coming off of that light, is what it is. So we are looking at probably the only, I think it's just the second. I believe I only have two Dragonlance game supplements in my collection. I may have three, but I think two for sure. I have a hardback version, and I think I've already done a video on it. And so this would be the second one, and this basically is where they took four different modules and put them into one omnibus. So we get this Classics Volume 1, 4 official game adventures: Dragons of Despair, Dragons of Flame, Dragons of Hope, Dragons of Desolation, and I believe that they're interlinked, so you can go from one adventure to the next. And I never really got into the Kryn, or whatever it's called, into the Dragonlance world. I was drawn to, after Greyhawk, I was drawn to Forgotten Realms, and so you kind of was an apple and oranges, a Ford and Chevy kind of thing. I had some friends and gaming associates that were fans of the Dragonlance setting, but majority of them were okay with whichever setting I chose to pick, since I was running the damn show most of the time. So anyway, this one here, I don't believe I've ever had the opportunity to run any of them. TSR 1990. So this was printed in 1990. We get some pretty good information and backstories. One of the downsides to this sort of stuff, if you get a deep enough world that something exists in, and you don't really have a whole lot of information on it when you're coming into it. So, for example, if you sat down with any kind of OSR book system or any kind of fantasy setting rule set and used this as the backstory, you knew nothing about the Dragonlance world and all the other things in the particularities of the races and the classes and things that are related to Kryn itself, then you would be basically handicapped to utilize whatever information is available in this book specifically. The upside of that is that these modules are interchangeable. I know a lot of people poo-poo the idea, but at the end of the day, there's very few game systems that are in the same genre that you can't take their adventure modules and just plug and play them in any setting you choose to use them in. You might have to do some slight alterations in name and placement stuff, but other than that, right? And there's some really nice maps and some good artwork in here. Of course, we're looking at 1990s artwork, so it's just becoming a step better than the late 70s, early 80s artwork, but for sure. We've got more people that are engaged in creating art for these game systems, and we have more players who are amateur artists that are very good. They're also contributing, and the internet is beginning to see the rise and dispersal of so many images and things that weren't available other than to purchase, in the past. So it just is what it is. Like I said, there's also a really nice map that comes with it here. Once again, there's two maps. I've never utilized either one of them. As you can tell, the creases are still factory fresh. I think that one might have been, yeah, that's a map. And then, of course, the character cards, which they intended for you to cut these out, by my understanding, which, of course, I'm always loath to do. And I paid $15 for this book in 1990, and I would have bought this most likely at Ivor's Dungeon, although I don't remember. I think it was on 42nd Street at that point, and it was just called Ivor's Games or something like that. He changed his name a couple times. He had to change locations like 4 times in all the years I frequented his establishments. His first location is always the most memorable to me because it was kind of located in an off-the-wall neighborhood in a red brick building surrounded by thick hedges, and had a really thick, heavy wood door that you expect to find in a dungeon. I mean, honestly, it really did. It had that very dungeony look, and I think he did that on purpose. And then he moved from there to a second location that was more up closer to the Drake University area, and then he had a fire there, and they had to move a third time, and he moved to a temporary location before he ended up at the place on 42nd, which ironically is now a restaurant, and I do their damn Interceptor, and part of that comes to mind because that's on my schedule tomorrow is Louis' Wine Dive, which used to be Ivor's Games. times. You know, it's just kind of weird how life is and how things go around. Anyhow, if you're a Dragonlance fan, hey, this is good stuff. If you're just looking for a good solid background adventure material, this is also good stuff. It's just like I said, I personally never found a use for it because it just wasn't motivated to plug and play it. Too much going on with Faye Run and my old creations at the time, so it is what it is. So, till next time, I'm Rick, you're not, and like I said, there's some weird delays going on this laptop. So, in a crash course, on the screen in front of me, below the video that you and I are both watching, I have some transition buttons over here, basically, and you can alter them, you can change them, you can move them around, you can label them. So like the one I have called cameras, which is this particular one, the opening obvious. Then I have one called ending, and another one called cat girl ending. And for whatever reason, transitioning to these other, it used to be instantaneous. Now it's not so much, and I don't know why that is. And I can't see any kind of reasons or rhymes to any of it. I just know that it's not responding as fast as it ought to. So we're going to hit the ending button and see what comes up. And see how long it takes to flip over to anything. See, there you go. And it's flipped over and I have nothing on here. I got something on here. Why is it not showing up? Well, there you go, right?